mostly when it comes to bans, but Vi getting through seems like teams still want to get their hands on that on 13-12. Less Enchantresses, but still the ability for Vi to go that early Cleaver or Divine Sundered, depending on how aggressive you want to get. And with that being spotted, point and click CC, gonna be a little bit more safety for Turtle this time around as he locks in the Xayah.
Yeah, you always have that escapability available through the ultimate of Xayah, and he has been playing a bit of that in solo queue as well alongside the Jinx. So a pick that's coming into prominence across multiple teams in the LCS. Maokai, forever safe pick from the jungle position to offer that lockdown, coming from the brush with your ultimate to create those team fight opportunities.
Yeah, Bugi, he's 2-0 on the pick this week, so he's just been on Maokai dude now for the entire week for TSM, as now Golden Guardians, I gotta say, with that Vi showing, there is the opportunity to have a lot of aggression onto the Maokai, at least in the earlier stages of the game, which I think really fits what GG wanted to do in spring and has done so far this summer. So expect to find them some push elsewhere in lane, and taking that Azir definitely fits that identity, as if they are able to chip out their lanes, you can support Vi invading, and that is where Vi can set that Maokai behind. You can really drive in an early game lead.
And when it comes to Gori on this Azir, he's already been warming it up this split, but all mid laners having some level experience on the time-old pick, and Vi as well, a comfort pick for River. We're gonna hover of Leona for a moment, but Licorice looking to bring out the Jax, and I think Golden Guardians, Cubby, what do you make of the way they have been able to utilize split push comps and not just shoving out waves, but making sure they're really offering that threat on multiple portions of the map?
I think it's funny you bring that up, because I actually think it's a combo between we see Licorice take some more early game priority, but then also Huhi this week's been on that rel, which we're going to have to look out for in the next phase of draft, because when you are able to shove out one of the lanes, it sometimes allows Huhi to sneak in, find some of these angles. That has been really good for GG, as they are looking for their third win this week, fourth in a row, as Golden Guardians, after dropping to C9 and EG, have started to get a little bit hot. And TSM wrap up this phase of draft. Gonna lock in that Gragas, so technically going to be a flex going into the next phase of draft, but frankly, I do expect that one to be in the hands of Hauntzer on the top side.
Yeah, could be so, could be so. Even with a little bit of a touch onto Gragas here in patch 13.12, still somebody that offers that flexibility in draft and just that versatility, what he can offer in the team fight, specifically holding it down in lane. But we'll see what happens for Huhi now that the Rel has been banned away. Because the Varus Rel combo specifically, it wasn't just Huhi on the Rel, it was Stixxay, some great ultimates, and then obviously with the new building paths that you have for Varus, so much damage he can do later in the game on that pick.
Actually surprised to see the Blitzcrank taken away. I think that personally, I would like to see the Gragas flex almost maintained throughout the draft, so I feel like support being grabbed here makes sense. Rakan, of course, is off the board, has been since the first phase, so no ability to find that pairing. But we'll see if Chime's able to pick something up, as I think we're going to see that Gragas flex be maintained as, okay, no. Actually, just going to be that Graves mid, so it's been Maokai duty all week for Bugi. Insanity now on the Graves for the third time this week, as that has been a new pick that no one else is playing and has looked good for TSM so far.
Yeah, so even though they did make that switch up in that bot line position, taking Xayah early, they do still have those 2 points of consistency. I
would like this pick a lot, actually. I think that Xayah, Graves, both very vulnerable to range. So if Golden Guardians were to find some bonus range elsewhere, it could be nice. But hey, Aphelios, that has been, I still think, the dominant marksman on this patch. And if you do pair this up with an Enchantress, I mean, Milio did see some nerfs on this patch, but would give Aphelios that bonus range where he is so scary. Of course, whenever you have to interact with Aphelios, the amount of damage he's able to do with any guns that he has could be very good. But no, Huhi, he's sticking to the engage.
Yeah, the engage that has been coming back into the meta since some of the changes on 13.12. I feel like Aphelios for so long has had that identity with enchanters because of the reasons that you're saying. Milio being strong, we've had Yuumi, we've had Lulu, but originally when Aphelios became a pick within the game of League of Legends, there were ways to try and combo off of the initiative of some of these engaged supports. For instance, if you can use the lockdown of Gravitum, try and get some slows to offer more of an opportunity for Leona to get that lock, then it could be a dangerous lane for TSM to face, but they end up responding with the Alistar.
Yeah, TSM, they end up matching the engage. I have to say, this is something where TSM, they have to execute the bounce house on the two carries when it comes to the Azir and the Aphelios, but there are so many tools that Golden Guardians has to actually blow that ultimate from Xayah. So I think a lot of it keep your eyes out for Huhi. See if he can trade ult for ult, because that might open up the Vi to then dive in with Gori afterwards, as I think Golden Guardians have to get that cooldown out first before they're able to fully attack the side of TSM.
So do you give Golden Guardians the advantage based on the drafts that they have, or do you think that TSM have enough disengage here to keep them at bay?
I'm a bit concerned for TSM in the early game, because we're going to have to see how much push this Aphelios Leona can get to support the Vi invades. I think that at least Graves is able to really push back Azir early, which might give Bugi some of that protection. And it's been a nice combo with the Graves Maokai, because when you...
For that proactivity off the back of their jungler River, who's proven to love that style, but we'll see what they can pull off here in the early moments.
River this game, it really feels like Golden Guardians this week has somewhat returned to that identity that gave them so much success in spring, which has been playing a bit quicker and playing with priority, as once they get leads, this is a team that we really feel like plays together well as five when it comes to executing things. I remember the first time I was up on this stage last split for LCS, it was River who actually toppled 100 Thieves and Bjergsen on a huge Vi game where he picked up the most valuable player of that game. And honestly, want to see River, what he's able to do on his first Vi game of the split this time around.
Yeah, and I think that also hits on a point when it comes to Golden Guardians' approach to this split, because I was watching the interview that their GM Spooks did with Digon recently, or their coach rather, and he was speaking about how they wanted to make sure they bring back some of that environment that worked well for them in spring, with that consistency, with that relaxed nature, but still be able to push the button on new compositions, be able to adapt, as they're trying to show now, adapting to TSM's aggressive push into their own territory.
We'll see how close Chime can get, or if TSM just wants to kind of distract, as it's a bit of a game of chicken now. Stixxay is going to sprint towards that bot lane, and we'll see if WildTurtle actually misses any melee creeps from this, as that could set him pretty far behind. As Bugi will be able to successfully get off this Raptor trade. Doesn't actually have to smite. And Huhi's trying to help River rush this down. He's got to smite this before Bugi's able to get here.
Still hanging around. Chime's going for it in the twisted advance. Bugi's getting the hit, setting it up. Chime knocks it down, but it's TSM with the team first blood.
Great start for TSM. We were talking about how Graves has push. You can actually go support jungle invades. This time, able to help out Maokai as he does Raptors very quickly. We also see Maokai start that solo, able to steal it away. Save the smite to try and get the red buff. River was able to secure that, but of course goes down, also burns that flash. So already early game we were setting up, hey, if I can get in that face of Maokai, try and punish him. Bugi's off to a really safe start now, as River is forced to the top side of the jungle. Bugi should know he's there, and Bugi has the rest of his jungle to farm himself.
And it's very much highlighting exactly what Golden Guardians are trying to do, be early and proactive, but TSM punishing it here with this invade. Definitely turning the tables against a team that wants to go for those early spikes.
The only option now... oh, hold on. Gori's going to take some more damage from Insanity, as he's brought very low. Again, this Graves... all he does is just, turn your brain off and push, right? That's what Insanity said in this post-game interview after the first one. Is like, hey, we just need to shove, support this Maokai. It's going well so far, but Huhi, he's already snuck out of the lane here, and we'll see if Insanity is wiser to it. He's playing very far back, as River's going to get the bad news of those Raptors. Oh, actually being taken by Bugi. He might go to the red buff. Bugi going to hover mid, and River, we'll see if he can pick up anything on the top side. Of course, he is down camps from that first invade.
Some good awareness by Insanity. You can see Huhi from Golden Guardians hovering around mid, River pushing up into the enemy jungle, so no reason to accidentally get caught out when you already have that advantage from first blood afforded to your team. And Insanity, making a statement on Graves in game one. See if he can follow up here on Bugi's play. Huhi able to zip away with the E and the walkout. That's one way to create some distance.
Actually, a beautiful buffer from Huhi there on the Zenith Blade. Able to get through that pull from Alistar, and seeing Bugi there, that means that River can actually take the red buff away on the back half. So River's done an okay job of recovering. He can get that topside crab as well, whereas TSM still playing towards that priority. There's a stacking wave in the bot side. We'll see if Bugi, TSM, maybe look for a dive.
We're potentially setting up for
this could be big.
The wave is now here for them to follow up. TSM, they keep their eyes on to Stixxay, the first lockdown, double knockup from Chime.
Beautiful.
And WildTurtle is able to dish out the feathers as much as possible, juggling with the aggro so Turtle stays on in it. They're seeing if they can get at least some of the plates here as they continue to pressure onto Huhi. The Zenith blades away. WildTurtle has to stun and cleanse out, but the kill is good. TSM with a clean dive. River wants some cleanup though. Bugi and Turtle still low. No flash. Charging up the Q. Does he go for it? River gets one more luck. Takes down the tree. A bit of a trade there on the tail end.
River is able to answer back, but the start for TSM, everything they denied from this Aphelios is massive early. As we talked about the bouncy house for TSM, you know, later you have the Gragas, the Alistar, the Maokai, you can hit people up in the air. They're doing it early, playing together. And I love how they're playing through the priority that they were able to find in their lanes, with Graves first invading jungle, putting River behind. He was forced to the top side. Guess what, TSM, we're just gonna stack up a bot wave, be able to get this dive off, and they executed this beautifully.
I mean, Bugi making sure to use all the lockdown that he has from this Maokai. And even when WildTurtle has to use the summoners to flash away, they have that patience. They know that Huhi can't dish enough damage back to be able to really make anything of the tail end.
Yeah, I mean, only bummer from this for the side of TSM is that Chime ended up walking away with 3 kills. So this is a plump cow that we have on the Rift right now that Golden Guardians might be looking to hunt later.
Isn't it better when your cows are plump?
I mean, it's nice
what you're planning to do with the cows.
Nice when you get a shutdown on you, you know? Maybe Golden Guardians can look to find that a little bit later. So it is a 1K Goldie for TSM off some of the plays they made early. Golden Guardians were able to snag the Dragon on the back side of that. But still, a lot of the time they've been able to buy for this Maokai to not get invaded early has been nice. Now Bugi, he's going to show up mid, help Insanity a little bit.
Gori on the Azir has the range to be able to step back, and Golden Guardians had previously gotten that Dragon, so even though there was that skirmish on the bot side, when you're able to make sure that you get the follow-up kill onto the enemy jungler, GG can make that play towards it first to keep some semblance of control here at 6.5 minutes, just about 1,000 gold up for TSM because of the kill pressure that they have been executing on the bot side.
And not only that, but where they've denied gold for Golden Guardians, you know, setting that Aphelios behind that could be big later in the game, as a lot of this comp for TSM, they're going to have to use their ultimates to really cleanly execute Aphelios later, as Insanity going for that lethality build. But if you're able to combine with Maokai or Gragas to displace Aphelios, I think that's the execution that TSM will be looking for in the later fights, is at the moment Bugi. He's down a level, but still looking to get aggressive in the river. And with Insanity not, hiding, Chime missing, that's another red buff taken here with the side of TSM.
Bugi's been spending a lot of times in the Golden Guardians jungle. That's why he was technically lower on farm compared to River, but it's because of the pressure he's been asserting with these ganks and just continuously taking those buffs away from River.
And every time he's able to actually, you know, go in and spot that buy, it also buys some time for his laners to be a little bit safer, as Hauntzer maybe suffering a little bit from 13-12. Gragas, of course, that cooldown on the passive was increased by 4 seconds quite a bit. He's been brought quite low, and Licorice doing a really nice job on the top side where he has that free reign.
Leaping on again on the top side. Hauntzer has to flash to the center of his turret's protection, throws a barrel to create some distance. Licorice hopping on out though, gets the solo kill onto Hauntzer. Both teams knew that they had the 1v1 on the top side, and Licorice was ready with the kill.
I mean, all the action on the bot side has been good for the side of TSM, but Licorice, again, continues to step up this split, as that Gragas was a counterpick. Now, oh boy, that's deep.
Cease and desist, Insanity hit by into the back, and Chime, even though stunned up, has to keep the eyes on Gori. River has fallen. TSM, they draw the first blood of this particular fight, and they're going for more. Bugi, eyes on Gori, who shifts the sands away, but the advance is good. 2 kills for TSM onto Golden Guardians.
Chime was able to get there. TSM, they were able to have members as Licorice. He was based at the moment. TSM still fighting through their strength. Insanity, very powerful in these early skirmishes, as we're going to take another look. First off, it's a solo kill. So Licorice went for the Grasp Jax. That's a big priority on the laning. Able to actually flash the cask. Now Hauntzer clears out the wave. I think Licorice sidestepping that Q's big. That might have been enough damage where, he might have gotten low enough to maybe go down, but able to step away from that. And at the moment, I mean, you can see No Licorice, it's just a 3v3. That flash brings River way too far in as Insanity. There's so much damage from the Graves here. Just barely able to scoop or slide out of that scoop. Gori gets enough damage down to actually pick up a kill, and TSM still a 1k gold lead for them, but that gold in pretty decent places as this mid jungle for TSM gets stronger and stronger.
Also some great reactivity within those fights because, yes, the lock from Vi's ultimate had already attached Insanity, but flashing to draw him more into the center of his team.
I think it's really important here that Golden Guardians off this reset are able to find that Rift Herald. As Vijax, they should have priority for this given the draft, and especially now given that top side lead where Licorice is really taking it to Hauntzer up here. Should be the free Rift for GG. We'll see if they can use that to get some gold back in their pockets as Golden Guardians props them executing on what they drafted early. As TSM, knowing that's going on, Bugi might look to answer here on the bot side.
40 seconds to go on this Dragon. Getting some pressure in the bot lane would do tremendously for TSM to try and break some stacking from Golden Guardians. And GG's bot lane is aware of the movement, so it's the positioning right now from TSM that are really pushing GG back to offer some space to get those controls down.
2 plates traded over the turtle and quite a bit denied from Stixxay as well. As I gotta say, I know that a lot of TSM, like early in the season, there's been a lot of chatter around Insanity, just with the possibility of Ruby coming in later for TSM. And Insanity, of course, coming from Challengers. Hold on, we gotta pause Huhi.
Huhi goes in again. Stixxay ready to dish the damage from the back line. And ultimate from Bugi gets the root onto 2 members of Golden Guardians under the turret. Insanity does come in with the teleport, but instead wants to cut off Gori. Dashes over the wall, and the Dragon is up now, so TSM making sure to keep themselves close to the objective at hand.
We'll snag that Dragon. Of course, Stixxay still denied quite a bit, but turning that previous point before Huhi got low. I think, you know, for TSM, Insanity, of course, came from Challengers with the Dignitas squad that took second our last 2 splits of Challengers, but also Hauntzer and Turtle, before they stepped up to TSM LCS, they were in Challengers as well. I feel like Insanity almost overshadowed some of the improvements we've seen from all the members of TSM, as Turtle has had a really good start to this split, been pleasant to see. I didn't think he was the strongest marksman that we had even when he was playing in Challengers last split, but now I think some of the champ reads he's had, some of the plays he's been making, especially on that Jinx the last couple of days, has been really good to see. And now he's going to be really empowered this game on the Xayah, having that own R for his safety and also all the gold he's been granted early to make a big difference, as he already has a Kraken Slayer. We're going to see if Turtle can carry this game for TSM, because that top side is very Golden Guardians' favorite.
I think long-term LCS fans are always excited to see WildTurtle step in this fashion, being able to carry for the squad in the same way he did in the early days and showing that resilience and working alongside Hauntzer on the previous roster, stepping back into the LCS together. They're mixing that veterancy with a new look for the team and a potential look onto Golden Guardians that have ventured far up ahead but exit through the Tribe Brush. Even though it is warded by TSM, there's no potential follow-up.
Yeah, Huhi did say he was going to try and visit the top side. It was a little bit later than what we expected, but still was looking for a potential play, because bot side right now pretty doomed with the early Kraken Slayer in the inventory for Turtle, who continues to press his lead with everyone showing in the top side. That tower is going to fall very shortly, and Golden Guardians will have to use this Rift Herald to pressure elsewhere.
And we've seen this from Golden Guardians plenty, where Stixxay takes that role, being able to hold his own in lane so Huhi can roam early. It's the way he likes to play, unlocking himself. But Chime, of course, doing the same. You're going to see that more when you have these engage picks coming in from the support position. So Turtle and Stixxay left alone, but because of that early pressure from Turtle, with everyone coming down, Bugi alongside of them, to continue pressing onto these plates, it means that TSM can knock down the first turret and keep up their pressure on this bot side.
Speaking of pressure, those going to be enough to buy space for Turtle against River, as TSM looking to support Turtle, as that is still the real point of power for TSM on the map. As Hauntzer down a lot of CS, but has only dropped 1 play, and that Herald actually will be forced. This is a long way from crashing, and TSM has 3 members. We could see a skirmish to just see if the Herald crashes or not.
You can see a River charging up just to try to create some space, but now 2 melees, not enough range behind them to be able to poke TSM off of the approaching Rift Herald.
Turtle's too strong. He just dinged level 10. He has the Kraken Slayer. He is way up on Stixxay right now. I would love to see TSM rotate Turtle across the map. Whenever you get a marksman that's ahead, that first turret's down, go put him elsewhere. Try and get some more gold in your pockets, as looks like at the moment Turtle working his way towards the mid lane. It's tough to shove against an Azir. I know Dragon's 2 minutes away though, so I think TSM just gonna put Turtle mid, try and get some mid priority, and then TSM can build some vision behind that to set up for this Dragon.
So now that we have fallen past that 14-minute mark, there's no more plates. We're starting to see some of that unlocking from lanes with the first turret down. Where do you evaluate how these teams, where they have ended up at this point in the game compared to what they're bringing forth? Because we talked a lot about River needing to have those proactive plays, Golden Guardians needing to control these objectives, but I see an even split and a gold lead for TSM.
At the moment, it feels like Golden Guardians kind of have to use this Jax to get leads elsewhere. You can see how accelerated Turtle is in this game. You cannot fight the Xayah at the moment, and Golden Guardians hasn't been able to really blow any summoners or ults off of Xayah, where I was expecting to see Huhi maybe fish for some Rs, at least get an ult or a cleanse out of Turtle. I would love to see Turtle actually hold that ult and cleanse instead, if that Leona ult is thrown, because he's going to need that for the Vi later. Go up in the air. Pretty good. But I think Golden Guardians, this is where they can use that Jax they have in draft to at least try and get priority in side lanes and then collapse, whereas TSM just use Maokai and Alistar, make the bouncy house, and give Xayah all the space that Xayah needs to really do the damage, because Turtle, again, so accelerated in this game.
And even though he's on a different pick than he was playing in the first 2 wins of TSM this week, it was 2 different Jinx games, it's still that same idea, right? Yeah. But even with some more protective capability because of that Feather Storm, still standing behind Bugi, still waiting for Chime to create that lockdown and the opportunities for him to dish out as many feathers and as much damage as possible. And with so much gold for himself ahead of the rest, Kraken Slayer completed, it's hard for Golden Guardians to step up into his range.
You see River snuck around TSM, was looking to see if Hauntzer actually poked his face out to catch the wave. Not going to be the case. Hauntzer is down quite poorly, but honestly, I would trade that lead to have all my gold on the Xayah in this game, as Golden Guardians in these fights, Leona, Azir, Vi, they will be jumping into Xayah, which is exactly what Xayah wants in these fights. So having Turtle so ahead, so valuable here for TSM, as Golden Guardians still trying to find ways to break this, and I don't think they can at this Dragon. They're going to have to drop this one, get some gold elsewhere, as they're going to try and make a point on the top side. Hauntzer.
And River's been hanging here for quite some time. Nice. Hauntzer thought that he was serving a solo party, but River flashes for the kill, ushers out a teleport from TSM, but it is too little, too late. Nature's Grass from Bugi, though, catches one, catches potentially a second, cannot in time. Bugi keeps the slash onto Licorice. TSM on out. Huhi eating into the back line. And Gori's coming on in. At first, Divide does not connect, but he does not need it too, as Bugi has fallen. Huhi fallen below in HP for GG. Not enough to keep the go button going, but they feel good taking 2 away.
Good play from Golden Guardians by deciding to drop that Dragon early on. They were able to find a play elsewhere. They committed a lot to this one, as Gori actually TP'd, but they did get 2 kills. And again, playing through that strong point that they have in the map on the Jax, working out for Golden Guardians here as TSM overcommit into them, and they end up falling.
Now, we cannot look past what Licorice has been able to do on Jax in the past, and now, when setting up with the jungler, pretty darn good.
Again, Dragon's being hit right now. River says, you know what? Not going to contest that. That Xayah is way too strong. We're going to play elsewhere. Now, this Q going wide, that's enough for Insanity to think, hey, maybe I can get in and actually find some kills. I actually really like the flash over the wall, the R from Bugi, and enabled him to follow up. But Licorice, this Counter-Strike, it stuns both Insanity and Bugi. And then Gori, he's like, all right, hey, TSM, they've overcommitted. I can sweep them in to get the flash off Graves. And now, when summoner spells are burned and you have Vi, it opens up the ability to make follow-up plays from Golden Guardians. So now, let's see if Huhi and River can excel this game pace. As right now, River, yeah, here we go. No flash.
Or from Golden Guardians, but River is putting in work on Insanity before Licorice can even make the play. But now he's got Insanity in his crosshairs. River said, all right, you got this. You can finish him off. Take the kill, Licorice. Looking sweet on that top side.
Licorice versus Turtle. That's what this game might end up coming down to here, as each of these members very fed now at the moment. TSM, they're looking for a little bit elsewhere. They saw a couple members in the top side. Gets some decent damage on the inner turret, but no dice as Golden Guardians continue to fight back in this game.
Yeah, in the end, River did need to come back because there's no reason for him to continue with a 2v1 on top when TSM were pushing down mid.
Yep.
So with a full-fledged of numbers here across mid, everyone but Licorice, GG, keep that pressure from pushing too hard upon them. Now TSM looking to make the rotation to keep Licorice from retreating, uses the explosive cast to zone him out. Licorice already using his leaping strike. Hauntzer venturing on forward, the counter-strike winding up, but Chime knocks him back. 3 members onto Licorice with a Rift Herald going down bot side, ushered forth by Gori. Licorice is totally okay drawing some of that pressure if his team is making plays on the opposite side of the map.
They are, but that still is a shutdown going over to Turtle, who's already at 2 items. So again, Turtle just got bigger off that play. Yes, Licorice was able to take down that inner. They'll get a couple crashes from this Herald too, which is all right. That could be more gold they could clean up later, but at the moment, Turtle is going to be so tough to deal with in these fights. Again, everyone has to jump into this Xayah, and Turtle has everything at his disposal to do everything he can to get TSM over the finish line. He's almost already towards that 3rd item, which looking like a bloodthirster in the inventory. Look at Stixxay, hasn't even finished his 2nd as Turtle so accelerated in this game.
The Gale Force and the Kraken Slayer for Turtle, and we'll see how long it takes for Stixxay to be able to catch up and even the odds. As now past 20 minutes, the Baron has spawned, which means that you have to draw some of the vision attention from both of the teams. Already setting up on this top side, Golden Guardians taking that scuttle. But still over a minute and 25 seconds time before that next dragon stacks. It's 1 dragon for Golden Guardians, 2 for TSM, so sole point for TSM, but one that Golden Guardians can't afford to give away if they see an advantage anywhere else.
I would love to see in the next minute if Huhi just maybe tries to fish to find an R on the Turtle. Maybe you get a cleanse or an ult off. If you do it fast enough, Leona would have ult back for that dragon fight. Not going to be the case, though, as GG will take the resets 1 minute before the objective. Will this be the fight that Golden Guardians continues to try and play into this Xayah that is so far ahead this game? As TSM show out mid, they're going to take the bases as well, and tension arises on the Rift as we could see our first big 5v5.
TSM was working towards a formidable gold lead for some time that has now been shrunken down below that 1,000 mark off of what Golden Guardians were able to achieve, both with Rift Herald and just out of some of these fights. But 30 seconds to go onto that dragon, and no one has spent much attention on the bot side to start moving for some of these wards. You saw that everything was kind of along that river line, nobody feeling that agency to be able to move past it.
This is where Maokai is so powerful, though. Taking control of this area now. Golden Guardians, they have to play into the Maokai. Very difficult to walk through these saplings as it has been the demonic embrace rush for Bugi, so those saps will be hitting pretty hard on the side of Golden Guardians. Licorice does have some bot push. You can see Huhi, he's actually channeling a recall. If he bases with Stixxay, this will be dragon seated as the bot lane of Golden Guardians there in base, and this will be a freebie for TSM.
TSM starting that up and taking it down. Again, Golden Guardians seem like they felt okay giving over that sole point. It's not do or die territory just yet. Still a bit too early for them to have set up around Baron and make some kind of trade in that regard, but just not wanting to lose out on the angles that Bugi would be able to take, because both of these teams had all of their ultimates ready, all of their summoners ready, and that's a lot to try to break through on the side of TSM.
And with everything being up, I really feel like that favors TSM. The ability to play defensive with Maokai and Xayah. We saw Golden Guardians, when they made that first positive play on the top side, River was instantly able to get something else because Insanity was missing Flash. Golden Guardians has to make plays, just try and bleed out tools from TSM. The fact that none of that has happened, credit to TSM for A, playing a controlled game, but also Golden Guardians, they have to push the pace. They have to make this a little bit bloodier, because when cooldowns are down going up against Leona, it's very easy to execute if you're on the side of Golden Guardians. But with everything being up, you can force Golden Guardians to overcommit like we've seen before, and that's been really good for TSM, as playing in the Maokai Xayah is so difficult.
Because you look at River on Vi, what does he want to do? Go in with the ultimate into a back target. What does Huhi want to do on Leona? Solar Flare, go in with the Zenith Blade. What does Licorice want to do? Leap in, right? So exactly as you're saying, if you expel all of those resources when TSM have their engage and disengage ready, you could put yourself in a very bad position. But that's why right now it's more of an establishment of warding up here on the red side jungle. River, he wants to contest around the blue buff, but can't step up. Multiple members of TSM at the ready.
I mean, this is the problem right now for Golden Guardians. Is that's actually a terrible line. We're gonna try that one more time here. We're drawing on the stage. Look at those items.
Wow, that's some good drawing right there.
I don't know about that. I might have to, you know, cede the mouse over to you. But
as a left-handed person at the desk, I don't think that's gonna work with this mouse.
But that's a full item that WildTurtle has over the Aphelios. That bot focus for TSM, getting the goal where it needs to be, has been so good for them. And again, Golden Guardians, they have to rely on Licorice stretching out the map in the sides, as, at the moment, they actually might try and pull TSM to them. As Hauntzer spotted bot, this is being burned. It's already half. TSM.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, TSM?
Yep.
Yeah, check it. It's gone.
Licorice is walking towards the objective. TSM, they didn't have any vision through it, and now the fight on the opposite tried to strip that purple from Golden Guardians, and Huhi might lose it. Bugi goes into the back with the twisted advance, and Licorice swings away to get a lock on the Chime, who flashes on forward. Lots of hits from Gori. The damage is good, but Licorice coming out. Stixxay manages to blast one down. No turtle here for no more damage. Stixxay one into lock eyes with Gori. Upon the members of TSM. Triple kill. Stixxay with the quadra wants to get the penta. Oh, Chime, you better give it on over, buddy. Stixxay wrapping it up with a penta kill.
Finds his teammate back from Golden Guardians Academy as this team fight, everything falling apart for TSM. We take a second look. WildTurtle, he's all the damage. But look at that. First off, burns the cleanse to get through that ult from Huhi, so that tool's gone. Then Licorice able to buy so much time with his stopwatch, and Stixxay from the side lands a huge ultimate, gets the root afterwards as Turtle didn't go airborne. The step out of that, Stixxay takes him down. No one finds the carries for Golden Guardians, and Stixxay, he was free-firing this entire fight over the wall. Great positioning from him as he picks up a pentakill against his old teammate, and all of a sudden Golden Guardians, this Aphelios, went from being behind the entire game to now being more than online.
How many pentakills has Stixxay got this year? It's been an impressive number, that's for sure, and off of some great setup from Golden Guardians. I mean, Cubby, you were saying it. WildTurtle, that's a problem for TSM, and once he went down in that fight, it felt over.
Best on yet, both ADs now at 3 items as things are back to being even. Things way better now for the side of GG as, oh boy, Bugi, he's down.
As soon as Huhi gets that lock, GG's there with the follow-up. You can tell they're feeling themselves after that Baron play, and now are ready to keep that pressure up across these lanes. Gori on the bot side to keep that empowered wave pushing forward, matched by Hauntzer, who does not have the teleport if GG put too much pressure elsewhere.
TSM, they need to wait. They're going to burn so much gold from this Baron as so many objectives were standing for Golden Guardians to take off this. And until TSM gets that Radiant Virtue through for Maokai, I mean, they're going to shred like paper against this Aphelios that all of a sudden went from being a full item behind to even now with the Xayah after that pentakill. And this game went from being so TSM favored, like, how do you fight against this Xayah? How do you fight into this Maokai, take the map back from him? To now Golden Guardians, everything is at their disposal as they're going to stop the Soul. And that's a big gold lead as Golden Guardians have turned the tides in everything on the Rift.
There was no way for TSM to get to this Dragon first because of that push after acquiring that Baron. They are stepping forward to see if they can find some kind of follow-up fight again onto Golden Guardians, but when they tried that on the other side of the map, it didn't work out too well for them.
And TSM, they committed 5 that we try and overtake that bot side jungle, that enabled Licorice to take down half of that top lane inhibitor, as Licorice has been strong all game and will continue to be strong in the side lane on the Jax. Almost has that Zhonya's completed. It's going to give him more survivability in the team fight as TSM. And Turtle still's got his sums available. You got to fight around him. I think that maybe just praying that GG overcommits into you is kind of where things are at. But this game turned on a dime so quickly from Golden Guardians. I mean, props to them for sneaking that Baron. Really caught TSM off guard.
And even looking at the map state right before that, the way that TSM were so focused on warding elsewhere and just not really able to get that vision onto the top side, maybe not expecting Golden Guardians to go for such an early play on that Baron as well. But their commitment, knowing they had the damage to burn the objective down, worked out well for them. Hauntzer targeting Huhi right now. expels the explosive cast. Moonlight Vigil from Stixxay so that TSM cannot follow up.
Turtle holds on to his spells there. Gonna take the damage. He will heal up off of BT, so actually well done from Turtle to not burn everything there, realizing he was safe. That is at least one thing taken away from Golden Guardians. TSM have the opportunity to maybe try and fight while Stixxay is still down that flash. They have some tools available to try and make a play on him. As now, we talked the entire game about WildTurtle being the problem. Stixxay himself, now matching Turtle is a problem for TSM to deal with, especially with everyone jumping onto the Aphelios.
And I will say, in terms of this game, another thing just to put a little feather in the cap of the way Golden Guardians were able to handle this, it's a split, Cubby, where games have been so fast. Teams snowballing from so early. And when they get that lead, they just do so much with it. So the fact that Golden Guardians, even though losing some of those early advantages for themselves, were able to get things in a neutral position and then beyond that extend a lead, now at 4,000 gold, about to be 30 minutes. That is impressive for them to counter the trend of what we've been seeing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see some clean bouncy houses here from TSM. On to Stixxay if they want to try and survive. See Hauntzer at least able to fight a little bit more on this side lane.
Now has
Turtle's here.
Turtle. Licorice goes into stasis, pops back up. Turtle throwing it down. More golden to be thrown by Hauntzer. Good. Blast cone good. Licorice. Huh. What a clean exit, my friend.
Oh, I thought he was going down there, but hey, going golden and avoiding the rip, that might have been the big difference in getting Licorice out. And while that was going on the top side, we had Insanity falling solo to River on the Vi. Now, big thing as well, Golden Guardians, they got the flash out of Turtle, who tried to go for that kill. So now this Baron, so dangerous for TSM to even walk in. With Hauntzer on the bot side, they're just going to give it.
Again, GG on it. And this time TSM just have to watch. They got the ward there. They know what's happening, and there ain't nothing they can do about that Red Bull Baron buff, the second acquired for GG.
Yeah, this Golden Guardians comp now on Vine as Azir is at 3 items. Aphelios is fed. TSM, things were going so well for them, at least earlier on. But once that control is lost, you can see River, holy cow, just melting through Insanity. Who, of course, has that lethality build going for the squishies, now has an LER to boot. I think he needed that a little bit earlier against River as he just shredded that Graves.
Absolutely annihilated him and is ready to do so again with ultimates back up for both of these teams. Red and white guns for Stixxay too. TSM are at that position where they're so forced into their base. Licorice still pushing with teleport on the bot side. That bot turret is fairly low, so he'll be able to push it off while all 5 members of TSM attempt to hold against here. Gori responding with the ultimate onto Bugi, who also throws out the Nature's Grasp for himself, but teleport coming in from Golden Guardians means that Licorice in the center of the wall swings away, bats him down, cuts down 3. Golden Guardians making a fight, but Turtle with lots of damage takes down the double kill. Look at him go, and even with the shifting sands forwards, Turtle manages to escape. Licorice really close to getting some distance gapped onto him, but it's just Turtle. It's just Turtle, and it's found. It's 3 members of Golden Guardians. Featherstorm attempt gets the 1-for-1 trade, but it's an ace for Golden Guardians on the back of that fight. A tremendous push for them in those moments with Baron buff still in tow. Can't stop, won't stop. Golden Guardians reap only victories.
4 wins in a row for Golden Guardians as they find the perfect week. And that was a close game. Again, I thought TSM did a nice job at controlling things early.